Hello everyone, my name is Arya Vyas and welcome back to the second season of Chess with Arya. Today we are going to watch a very classical masterpiece played by Greco Gioacchino in 1620, in which it portrays how we can take advantage of the mistakes our opponent makes right in the opening and why it is important for us to always develop in the center and keep a strong presence. So, the first move played by Greco Gioacchino, this was in 1620 Europe, was a very normal move, e4. Going for the center and protecting the squares that are d5 and e4 and also opening the line of our bishop on f1. After that, black played b6. b6 is not the most highly recommended move in the game of chess. Why is that? Because b6 does not create any control over the main center squares that are e4, e5, d4 and d5. And b6 has only one best move, and that is you're allowing your bishop to create a fianchetto. What is the fianchetto? Fianchetto bishops are the bishops that are placed on b6, on b7, g7, g2 and b2. What advantages do these bishops have over the other bishops? Because these are the longest diagonals in the game of chess. So from a8 to h1 and from h8 to a1, these will be the longest diagonals because they're creating a cross right in the center of the board, which is going to restrict your opponent's movement quite a lot. But I don't recommend playing b6 right at the first move. Why? Because you're not helping yourself to develop faster or create any central control whatsoever, and it becomes very easy for your opponent to take advantage of your weak position. So once after b6, white played a very good move, that is d4. Because black had not created any control over the center, white took advantage of it and placed both the pawns in the center, and now having complete control, black, as per the plan, played bishop to b7, attacking the pawn on e4 and trying to get some control over the center. One more thing that this bishop does is aim straight for the square on g2. g2 squares are very important because your rook on h1 is very highly to get trapped if the opponent's bishop or queen gets access to the square on g2. So after this was played, white played a very good move, bishop to d3, protecting the pawn on e4, stopping black's bishop from attacking the pawn on e4 and threatening the pawn on g2. At the same time, developing the pieces, so it's a double move. It's also protecting and it's developing. After that, black notices the pin. So when this was played, bishop on b7 is pinning the pawn on e4 from attacking the pawn on g2. Now, after that happens, what is that this pawn, if it moves, then you are going to lose your rook. And so, to emphasize on that point, black played the move f5, forcing white, or at least threatening white, to move the pawn on e4. But black did not notice that when he was going for all these threats, when he was continuously thinking about his own attacks, he kind of looked ahead and overlooked what white's attacks are and what white's plans are. And now we can notice that white suddenly has a very huge advantage on the king side, and black's king has become very vulnerable at this point because the diagonal from e8 to h5 is completely blocked and there is no way that you can now protect that diagonal. But black still went for it. After e crossed f5, white has complete control over the squares e6 and g6. The whole center is white's and black only has one developed piece, while white has one developed piece and all the other pieces are ready to get developed. After that, um, black does not look at white's plan and creates a very immature attack, and that is bishop takes g2, attacking the rook on h1. Now black must have thought that he is winning at this point because he doesn't have any defense to stop the bishop, black's bishop, from capturing white's rook. And black would be a whole rook up, which is a very huge materialistic advantage. But in some positions, you have to make sure that if you are not going to get attacked just because you are threatening the opponent, because whenever you are going to threaten the opponent, you also have to look at the opponent's threats, which is something very important most chess players miss, and most mistakes are made because of this very move. So, what you should do is whenever you are going to play a move, see what threats the opponent has, see what different ways black can occupy your square, or if you are black, then how white can occupy your squares. So don't be blindsided to what the opponent's plans and what opponent's threats are, because there might be some very good checkmate attacks or maybe even double attacks. So after that, white played an amazing move, queen to h5, attacking the king and leaving black with hardly any defenses. Black plays g6, the only move that he had. Now, because black had never developed any of his other pieces, the king is stuck right in the middle. And after g6, obviously white captures the pawn, and black once again tries to get attack and plays knight to f6, hoping that after the pawn maybe advances to g7, he can just capture the queen. And but what he did not calculate was after that g takes h7, and once again a discovered check by the queen to the king. Black captures, and bishop to g6 is a checkmate. Now, what all mistakes did Black make? Black did not develop any of his pieces. Black was not looking at what White's threats are, and Black did not get any control over the center. White took advantage of all of these weaknesses, did rapid development, sacrificed some of his pieces just to get Black's king into the center. But Black's king being in the center was still stuck. So it's very important for you to always develop your pieces. Don't move the same piece twice. Always gain control over the center, and always make sure that you are looking at the opponent's threats instead of just focusing on your own. I hope you understood what's important in chess, and take your time. Don't create premature attacks. One more mistake that Black made was that Black did not have enough pieces to go for the attack, because in chess, only one piece cannot create a checkmate or a very huge attack. You should always have at least two to three backup pieces so that you can bring in more pieces and maybe even create checkmate threats. For example, over here, white brought the queen, white brought the pawn, white brought the bishop, white even gave up a pawn, gave up the queen just to create a checkmate. So always bring in more forces, bring in more pieces, and don't do premature attacks. I hope you learned something new in this game, and you should always study more classical games. And if you have any questions or any review feedback, or if you want me to say any other games or puzzles, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you learned something new. Thank you and stay safe.